I should be live now in the Facebook group. I am going live now in the Facebook group, and I am checking here to see if you all can hear me and if you all are able to see me. So let me do this. Let me check on my phone. Let me check on my phone here so that I can get a peek, take a peek here and see who is with us and who is able, and to make sure that I'm actually live. Okay, so it looks like I'm live. Hey everybody. Okay, I'm live. I'm live. All right. So let's get back into it. Apologies on that. So here we are. And most people are probably catching and checking out the replay anyway. So we're here to talk about what goes into a book collaboration. What goes into a book collaboration? And let me know if you can hear me. If you could just type the word sound or yes, I can hear you, that would be really great. So I'm doing this live stream for Lisa Shaw, who has to jump off before 6 because she is training a session. And she had a great question that she proposed and that she put into the group. And she said, I'd like to learn more about what goes into compiling a book collaboration with various writers. I was a part of a book compilation many years ago. I wrote a chapter for the book, and it was not a good experience. So I would be happy to answer this and address this. At this point, on to my, oh my goodness, my 4th book collaboration as the visionary author, but also had the opportunity to kick off kind of how I got into this space. Was the first time that I was featured in a book was in Mogul in the Making. So this was my first taste of joining forces with other authors to write a book. Then I had another opportunity, and that was with Sharnia Ellis. And then I had another opportunity to be in a book collaboration, Get It Done. Sarona is in the group here. She may comment later. But this was an interesting book collaboration because we were all a part of a conference. And again, just put a 1 or let me know that you can hear me. That's all I need. We were part of her conference, her Brill conference. And as a part of being in that conference, she had all the conference speakers write a chapter in a book. So these 2 books are like my first taste at a book collaboration and being a part of writing a book together with other ladies. So then I said, this is something, there's so many people that want to write a book, but the task feels really daunting, right? If you think about it, I got to do 30,000 to 40,000 words, like all by myself. Like, how am I doing that? Is there anyone that's watching this that has the desire to write a book? Like, just put a 2 in the chat. If you have a desire to write a book and you're like, ooh, it just feels kind of daunting, put a 2 in the chat. If you're saying, I want to write a book. And so writing a book by yourself may feel very daunting. However, there's also this option of doing a collaboration where you're writing the book with other people. And so I want to talk about what goes into that. Before I jump in all the way into that, I want to remind those of you that are service providers, in particular, you offer professional services, and you've been thinking of, what does a book do? Well, I want to remind you, number one, a book gives you actual physical product. A book gives you actual physical product to sell. So if you are a service-based entrepreneur, let's just say, and you might not have any actual physical product, well, when you write a book, you have physical product to sell. So that will help you generate revenue that way. The other thing that a book does for service providers, and again, those of you that are professional service providers, it helps to establish your authority, because anywhere on the globe, if you say the word author, that is an international expert. Whatever the translation is, whatever that translates into, you are a expert. And so if you're positioning yourself as an expert in your field being in a book or writing a book is one of the things that'll do that. It also opens up doors for speaking opportunities, which gets you in front of new audiences that can get you new customers. A book can also open the door for media attention, because media, what they're looking for, experts, they're looking for people to talk about different things, and so authors are very attractive for that. So those are just a kind of a couple of reminders. In particular, if you are a service-based entrepreneur and you offer professional services, of a reason why you might think about being in a book collaboration or writing a book. So I led off with, the two books that I was in as really a participant in the collaboration. But then I said, hey, I want to lead this effort. So my very first book collaboration is called Propel. And so you can see the lovely ladies on the back. So that was my first book collaboration. And then my second book collaboration is Pour. And you can see the ladies that participated on that. And then last year's book collaboration, Pursue. So that's the third book collaboration. And I am set to release Pearls, which is my fourth book collaboration. And I am smack dab in the middle of announcing all of my co-authors for that book collaboration. So you've seen probably some of the posts in the group for that. And so, and I'll continue really into next week announcing those co-authors. So let's talk about what goes into doing a book collaboration or doing a book compilation or an anthology. So listen, I have my little notes, because I didn't want to, and you look, my little custom notes that say, hey, Sharvette, hey, because I didn't want to lose or leave out any juicy nuggets for you. So one of the first things that goes into a book collaboration or a book compilation is thinking about the title or the theme. So what is this going to be about? What is the title? What is the theme? What are the things that people are going to kind of find in the book? So that's the first place that it starts. The second place is around the authors. So when someone is putting together a book collaboration, as I mentioned before, Oprah and Bishop T.D. Jakes, there's one other author. But then there are book collaborations I've seen where there were like 24 authors. So there's no right or wrong other than being able to manage the project as far as how many co-authors that you have. And so, yes, everyone that contributes to the book, that contributes a chapter or whatever it's divvied up to be, they are considered a co-author, like a valid author of the book. So that's the second thing that you're going to be thinking about or if someone is doing a book collaboration, what they think about is how many authors are going to be included. All right. So the next thing, and again, if you're making any comments, I am not seeing them at this point. Okay, great. Gwen gave me a 1. Thank you, Gwen. Said I can see. Okay, Sharice is giving me a 2, saying I thought about doing writing a book, but it was kind of daunting. And so let me capture this. It's easier actually to see the comments on my phone. And so Charnel said, I write books by myself and with others. I would love to collaborate with you in writing a book. Send me a message and let's discuss. Send me a message and let's discuss. Okay, great. Now I can see the comments. All right. So the second thing, as far as what goes into a book collaboration or book compilation, is really the number of authors. How many other authors are going to be writing the book with you or writing the book together? The third thing is around the amount of writing. So certainly the fewer authors you have, that probably means that there's going to be more writing that's required, because you want the book to have a little bit of weight. Now, let me just say, it doesn't have to be a 400-page novel, because quite honestly, most people's attention span is not even holding that, unless you're reading John Grisham or somebody like that. So it's not that the book collaboration has to be like this 400-page novel, but the amount of, that's the third thing, the amount of writing that each author has to do is probably driven off of how many authors that are going to be a part of the collaboration. So if you are interested in being in a collaboration or interested in being in a part of one, that's one of the questions that you probably would ask, is how much writing do I actually have to do or get to do? It depends on your perspective. What do I actually have to do or what do I get to do? And the cool thing about the book collaboration piece is, if you have wanted to write a book in the past, this is like a great first step. I'm not even not going to gonna say just first step, first like jump or leap, because okay, great, Lisa is back. Lisa is back. And for those that are just tuning in, I'm Sharvette Mitchell. I'm the host of this amazing group, and I am doing this live stream about what goes into a book collaboration, because our great community member Lisa Shaw asked the question like 2 days ago, like, hey, can you share what goes into a book collaboration? I've done one in the past, wasn't so nice of a situation, and so just wanted to hear my perspective with now three done, and the fourth collaboration being added to this pile early fall 2022. I'm announcing my co-authors. Penny was here earlier. She's one of my co-authors, and so great. So as a recap, we're just getting started. So what goes into a book collaboration? The first thing, the title is picked, or the theme is picked. Then the second thing is like, okay, how many authors are going to be a part of this? Is this 2 authors? Is this 25 authors? And that's really depending on who is the visionary author. So when you hear that word visionary author, that's the person that's leading the book collaboration. They're the one kind of in charge of putting it all together. So I've had the opportunity again to be the visionary author of 3 books, but then I was in 2 other books who somebody else was the visionary author. So FYI on that. So the number of authors, then 3 is the amount of writing that everyone has to do. So that's something that has to be determined. And usually probably the fewer authors, the more writing that each individual person has to actually do. So that's something that has to be taken into consideration, and that has to be determined and communicated. All right. The next thing, so we've got our title, we've got how many authors are going to be in it, we've got a range of like how many words that they need to write, or how many pages they need to produce. Then the next critical step is an editor. And so the visionary author is the one that goes, and in the way that I handle things. Now, other people that do collaborations might do something different. But the way that I handle things is I get an editor, professional editor, who edits the whole entire book. So they edit each and every chapter. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you've been in a book collaboration where you had to get your own editing done. Let me know about that. So welcome to everybody that's popping on in. We're talking about what goes into a book collaboration. Yeah, that's what we're sharing, and we're answering this due to a question that got posed by Lisa Shaw here in the group. All right, so the way that I do it, the 4th thing is an editor. So you absolutely need editing. You absolutely need another set of eyes that's professional at editing. And so the way that I handle my book collaborations is that the editor will then edit the entire book. They edit each and every chapter, coming in from all of the different authors that are a part of the project. Then the next thing that has to be done as far as what goes into the book collaboration, while the editing is kind of being off and done, so the writing is done, the editing is being done, then you have the book cover design. So there has to be a designer that's hired that will design the book cover. So you got paperback books, you have hardback books, which there's a couple different versions of hardback books. FYI, you've got the ebook cover. So the designer that you actually are selecting, or the designer that is selected, will design in those frameworks. So let me capture this comment here. Charnel said, my editor edits the whole book. Okay, great. So I hope those of you, if you're maybe in a collaboration, I hope that is the process, and that you're not having to go off and edit like your own chapter. So then there's book cover design. So that's led by the visionary author. So the visionary author takes that over and handles that and works with the designer to get whatever different type of book cover. So of course, everybody kind of knows the traditional paperback book, and then certainly, and then there's hardback. And so then this is a hardback, but it is called like case bound. But then, let me grab this off the shelf. This is a hardback that you might see, but then it comes off. So there's a couple different, and pricing is different. But the visionary author kind of decides what's going to be happening with the actual book cover. Then that's the outside of the book. And then what I do for my clients is I actually put their pictures, all the authors' pictures are on the back cover. Not all book collaborations do that. And so that's something that I do. And then we also started actually with this book. So the last book, we started also putting the authors' names on the front cover. So Pearls, which is going to be coming early fall 2022, the authors' names will be on the front, and then also their pictures will be on the back. But that information, and that is all kind of decided by the visionary author. Thank you, Lisa said my cover is nice. So that's all decided by the visionary author. So that goes into it. But if it's something that you're doing yourself, because really the process that I'm sharing, if you're saying I'm wanting to do a book by myself, these steps are pretty much the same. The only thing you take out is that you have co-authors. You basically got to write it all. So you have the book cover design. Again, that's typically decided, managed, and done by the visionary author. Or if you're doing a project by yourself, then that's something you have to go kind of figure out. And so we've named a couple things, like we've named editing, we've named book cover design. And so a lot of times there are people, and you might be watching this, later in the replay, type #replay. I want to show you some love. You might be saying, you know what, I have like notebooks, and I have pads, and I have my iPad, and I've got the book almost written, but then a lot of times people stop right at this part. They're like, gosh, I don't know what's next, or all of the next steps are very overwhelming. And so that's what happens a lot of times. There are a lot of books that are probably on your nightstand, written on toilet tissue, shoved somewhere, all over the place. You've got notes and you got stuff all everywhere. And a lot of times people get bogged down on there's several other steps that have to take place. And so that's one of the things I'm really excited that in my platform builder program. So the collaborations that I have done all are include authors from my platform builder program. And that's one of our done for you services. Like we take that over for them so they don't have to think about all of that. So you've got the exterior of the book. All right. Yes. Toilet tissue. Some of y'all have some stuff written on toilet tissue. At least I see you laughing. All right. Interior design of the book. So you also have to hire someone that will do the design of the interior. And so what does the layout? So the layout of the interior, and actually, let's see here. At the beginning of each chapter, you might not be able to see, so you can kind of see right there, there's like a graphic. So the interior design of the book and the layout, you have to hire somebody to do that piece. And so that is all managed as a part of the book collaboration. Typically, again, the visionary author is managing all of that. Then once the interior is done, you got your editing done, you have the book cover done, then you actually have to publish it somewhere. It has to actually be published somewhere. And so when there's a book collaboration, again, typically the visionary author is leading everything for you. So your contribution is really your amazing writing. And they take that, they take that in, and then they do everything else for you. Typically. Now, if you've had another experience, and you feel like venting or sharing, you can do that. This is a safe place because this is only being broadcast in the Coaching with Vet group. But the publishing is a decision that has to be made as far as where it's going to be published, where it's going to be distributed, where it's going to be available, how you get copies, how the authors get copies. All of that is kind of in that publishing phase, and that's done by the visionary author that's putting the book collaboration together. Chanel is saying yes, that's right. And then, after that, the last thing is really the printing of the book. So typically, each author that's a part of the book collaboration gets access or gets a certain amount of books, and then they go off and sell them. And so that's the selling and the marketing piece is the next piece. Now, one of the benefits of being in a book collaboration and being a part of an anthology, again, I mentioned earlier, anthology, book collaboration, book compilation, they all mean the same thing. It just means that they're, in my humble opinion, that there's more than one author. So there's multiple people, more than one. It could be 2 or it could be 25 or whatever, more than one author. So the beautiful thing about the marketing piece of doing a collaboration is that you have, 10 plus, 12 plus 5+ authors that are going to be promoting the book. And so, author one, they're promoting to their audience. But guess what? When their audience buys, then if you're author number two, now that audience is introduced to your writing, introduced to your business, and introduced to what you do. So that kind of collaboration in the marketing phase is really powerful when you think about book collaboration. So I think I did it because I know that Lisa had to jump off before 6, and I did this just for her. So that was the down and dirty. Really quick, are there any questions? That was the down and dirty from Sharvette Mitchell, marketing consultant who produces book collaborations. And again, I'm right smack dab in the middle of announcing the co-authors for my newest book for this year that's going to be coming out, Pearls. And so we'll be announcing the co-authors one a day. We give everybody their own little spotlight. We'll be announcing one a day through probably next week. So any questions? All right. Thank you, Lisa. She said you are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, if you listen to this in the replay, come back and type replay because I want to show you some love, And if there are other videos that you're saying, hey, what goes into that you want me to do, let me know in the comments. So I did one video that's in the group on what goes into a brand photo shoot, like what are all the components and all the things that go into it. Thank you, Dr. Diaz. She's one of my co-authors. So she was the first announcement. So she is has been announced as one of our co-authors in Pearl. So she is here. Penny was here earlier. Natalie was here earlier in the first little live stream. We had a little hiccup and I had to log off and come back in. So, but again, we'll continue to announce the co-authors. But again, real quick recap. The title and the theme has to be figured out. The co-authors, how many, who's going to be writing, how much they're going to be writing, who's going to edit the writing, who's going to design the cover, exterior, who's going to design and lay out interior, where is it going to be published, where is it going to be sold, how are authors going to be able to get their books, and the marketing. So that's it. That's what goes into a book collaboration. Again, if you're feeling like, ooh, I wanted to do a book, but if this feels like a lot, let me acknowledge and affirm that it is. And that's why there's a ton of people who want to write books and have actually probably written them, and then they just haven't gone any further. And so this is why we make this one of the done for you services as a part of the Platform Builder program. Oh, and if you're interested in knowing more about the Platform Builder program, you can just jump over to platformbuilder.biz, not .com, not .org, platformbuilder.biz. If someone could type that in the comments for me, that would be great. Platformbuilder.biz. You can find out more about that program. We do have a June enrollment. That's something new. Normally it only opens for enrollment in January, but we do have a June enrollment. So you can jump over there and check that out, because a part of that program is being in a book collaboration. So there is that. All right, so let me check and see any other comments. Hey, Marcy, thanks for popping on in. Welcome to everybody. And I'm looking here because it was easier on my phone to see the comments than versus on the laptop here. All right, great. So that is that. I think we did it. Thank you, Lisa, for your question. This live was all about you. I know you got to go to a Zoom at 6. Thank you, everyone. And thank you. Lisa typed it in, platformbuilder.biz. Let me just pin this comment here. All right, so that's pinned. And again, if there are any other, like, what goes into types of videos that you want me to do, there's already in the group what goes into a brand photo shoot. So this will be in the group, what goes into a book collaboration. So if there are any more, what goes into, I'll be glad to add those videos and talk more about it. All right, I'm going to wrap up for today. Thank you for being here, even live and replay viewers. And it's going to be a wrap. I'll see you later on the web.